My name is Wynand Goosen, and I've got the marvelous privilege this morning to facilitate this session on awareness in innovation to accelerate the South African economy. Before we start, I'm going to actually ask if you guys don't feel maybe a little bit more comfortable in moving a bit closer. The room is a little bit big all of a sudden, especially the ladies at the back there. We promise we won't bite. You don't want to sit closer? You see some of these gentlemen on the stage are actually much better looking if you see them up close. Can't convince you. Scared, eh? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, what I would like to do then is to proceed with the discussion. And before I hand over to Elvira, that's going to do the introduction and set the scene for us, I just wanted to welcome all of you once again, as well as say a hearty word of welcome to our panel members. I think they deserve a big hand. They're prepared to sit here upstage and facilitate the session with us. Okay. On my right-hand side here, I'm Mkhululi from Technology Innovation Agency, CEO of TIA. Mkhululi Mazibuko has asked me to allow him to contribute from the floor. So, Mkhululi, thank you very much. I don't know if you want to say one or two words, but welcome. We look forward to your contributions.
All right. No, thank you. I think what I will do is I just want to give the opening remarks.
Thank you.
And then maybe hand over to the panelists.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. And we just want to thank you for attending this session. As the Technology Innovation Agency, we were established through an act of parliament to facilitate and stimulate technology innovation in the country. And we, as part of our offerings, is to work with scientists, innovators, and the general public, to stimulate, not to stimulate, but to support them in a way, because we do not provide direct funding. They provide, the expertise, and we provide, support to them. One of the challenges that we've had is around skills development. We have, recognized that the youth, especially, there's a number of projects or initiatives that they have, but it's how you then harness, that skill. And the purpose of this session is, to engage with you with the new approach that we want to take when it comes to innovation skills development. So Alvaro, my colleague, will take you through the presentation. And the presentation, challenges and highlights the status quo within the national system of innovation when it comes to innovation skills development. It also challenges what we have. We have a number of competitions, that are running. Everybody has a different understanding of what innovation is, and there's no common understanding, within the country of what innovation is, which creates a problem to a certain extent. So as the topic for engagement today would focus on how we can partner together to support innovation that improves the quality of lives of ordinary South Africans. South Africa's wealth lies in its people, and Innovation Nation is not merely a nation of inventors, but it's so much more. It is more attuned to a mindset change to the country. We are of the view that to address the complexities of skills development, an industry-driven approach needs to be taken, where a partnership with the various players is adopted so that we have a common understanding and we all work together to try and solve the problems that we have. With this holistic approach, it will be undertaken to support the development of critical thinking skills that enable innovation to occur. This will involve firms and skills planners having an enhanced understanding of the capabilities of organizations to whom the community is serving. And this will be done largely to inform and influence their core education and training activities. And in turn, we wish to see universities, tertiary and vocational education training colleges, and other public and private providers that they need to have a common understanding and respond to the changing technological capabilities and skills needs of firms. In relation particularly to professional, occupational and skills-oriented programs, and we want to see that we produce graduates that are useful within the work environment. As the chairperson of the NYDA, indicated, we have youth that are coming up, but when they go to this to work environment, they are not developed, but they're used for pushing wheelbarrows, making tea, which is not what we'd like to see. So we want to see innovation skills development, becoming a thread and part of, the culture that we as firms, adopt. So I would like to then just, Alvaro would look at the outcome of the technology innovation space. He will look at the potential of the innovation within the country. And he will also touch upon what is needed to unlock the value of innovation. And I therefore just want to hand over to him, who will then take you through the presentation, and we're looking forward to the discussions that we're going to have today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mkululi. Over to Alvaro.
Good morning, everybody. As we work for, should I say, a government department, we'd like to say all protocol observed, including everybody protocol observed. To all distinguished guests, everybody, would like to welcome you to this session. Really excited about innovation and really excited about how we can basically nurture South Africa's talent to produce rising stars that are making an impact around the globe. Okay, if I can get innovation to work to get this slide to change, that would be quite something. See, if it was a Samsung TV, I'll just do this, you see? But anyway, it is a Samsung. Oh, okay. It's still not working. Oh, there we go. All right, here we go. So our renewed vision as an agency is that we want to be a world-class technology innovation agency that stimulates and supports technological innovation that improves the quality of life for all South Africans. How we intend on doing this is we want to translate South Africa's knowledge resource into sustainable commercial opportunities. And we as TIA have 3 vehicles that we use to do this. We have what is known as a technology innovation program, where we focus on innovations in particular sectors, and we provide risk funding for that. The second instance, we have technology platforms and technology stations where you as an aspiring entrepreneur can go and receive assistance. And lastly, we have the innovation skills development program, which is basically focusing on the thinking that drives the innovation, because that's the most important thing. So, as the CEO alluded to, we're going to look at 3 things. What is the envisioned outcome of technology innovation as set out in the NDP 2030? What is stalling the innovative potential of South Africa? And what is needed to unlock this potential? So before we get started, I would like to do a commercial break and enjoy the video. I think we're having a technical problem because it's playing the video twice, so innovation is needed there. Let's try doing this again. Okay, all right. 2 minutes. Sure, and I don't even have a Julius Malema joke ready. Okay, all right. So I'll just kind of try and continue with the discussion while we're waiting for the technology to come on board. You see, that's why we need innovation skills development. Otherwise, we won't have this problem where we're experiencing this challenge. Looking at innovation skills development within the country, as the CEO has alluded to, there is a lot of duplication that's happening in the system. There's a lot of competitions that are being run. Different public entities are running a lot of innovation challenges. And what seems to happen is if one person is recognized in this public entity with one innovation, we begin to see that innovation go into the next public entity. And what we're not seeing is these innovations being deployed into the market in order to generate these commercial opportunities that we'd like to see, where the technology itself is being demonstrated to improve the quality of life of all South Africans. And as the Innovation Skills Development Program, we're trying to focus anew again on how we can develop critical thinking competencies that will enable South Africa to be able to translate its knowledge into a sustainable commercial opportunity. Is the video available now? That was less than a minute. Are we good? Okay. Maybe can I just continue, then you will let me know when you're ready. How about that? Okay. All right, so moving along. Oh, now this innovation. Wow, it's not working. Oh, it's going back to the start. Sure, yeah, technology, ne? Okay, the National Development Plan sets out to do two main things, mainly to grow an inclusive economy through building capabilities by enhancing the capacity of the state, and aims to eliminate poverty and reduce inequality by 2030. But moreover, the NDP endorses the notion of innovation-led growth. What does that mean? The National Development Plan recognizes that innovation is the primary driver of technological growth and drives higher living standards and brings about economic growth. And it proposes that a larger, more effective innovation system is developed that is closely aligned with firms. They basically talk about developing a common overarching framework where the role of science, technology, and innovation is basically developed in order to shape the future of the economy. It talks about bringing parties together, bringing the Department of Trade and Industry, bringing the Department of Science and Technology, Department of Economic Development, Department of Basic Education, Department of Higher Education together in order to develop these critical thinking competencies that are able to drive innovation. So we're going to take a look at this now and say, so what is stalling this innovative potential of South Africa? If you look at it, there is no distinct categorization and promotion of social and economic innovation at a national level. Everything is happening a bit haphazard. We see business efficiency innovation taking place. We see research and breakthrough innovation coming through, and largely disruptive innovation being imported from overseas. All these things are happening, but there doesn't seem to be a common understanding of what innovation is. And the innovations are not focused on being cross-sectorial. They're mainly focused on just one particular sector. There is no recognition of the regional capabilities because in each region, South Africa is endowed with different resources. Be it in other regions, there's lots of mineral resources. In other regions, there's a lot of aquatic resources. But we do not see innovation that is taking place specifically to those things and how all those sectors can actually work together in stimulating the economy of the country. The other thing that we're seeing is that there are lots of multiple interventions and competitions taking place, as I alluded to earlier. The most important one, we ran a competition with SASO last year called the Step Up Challenge, and there are these girls who've done an amazing thing. They've come up with an innovation for the ladies that do the braids on their hair. Okay, so this innovation is this little spray that you have, and on your braids, you spray that, okay, then your braids literally just fall off. No need to be having a comb and everything else to unbraid your hair. I can see the ladies are smiling. Yes, yes, that is available. But what we recognized with that innovation is simply this, that there was no clear route to market for that particular innovation. They won the competition, yes, but what happened thereafter to that innovation? It came through to us, and we're working with them at the moment to try and get their product through to market. There's lack of coordination of technological innovation demonstration. During the Step Up Challenge as well, there were two amazing, I tell you, life-changing innovations that we saw there. The first one is somebody came up with material for buildings that if there's a fire in that room, should that material have to burn, it will release carbon dioxide such that the fire is only contained in that particular room. Imagine that. There's no damage to the rest of the other rooms that are within the property. The other innovation that we saw coming through was a gel-like for welding. Instead of actually using a welding rod, you basically attach two electrical cathodes to one side, apply this gel or silicone, and basically as electrical current passes through, those two metal pieces join together. And I'm thinking Pretoria wants to merge Centurion and Pretoria together and form one mega city. Why don't we take those innovations in that construction phase so that we can begin to see the technology being demonstrated? Johannesburg then said, no, Pretoria can't be the only one doing something nice. We are going to reclaim the whole CBD and everything else. And what we're saying is, guys, lots of green technologies that are out there. Imagine creating a green park in Johannesburg and saying, do you know what, no carbon emissions here, everything is run on solar and everything else. How exciting would that be, that we begin to see our country taking a new direction? But that's the challenge that we have at the moment. There is no coordination of all of this. The other thing that we're seeing is IP loss. As you know, the founder of PayPal, he made his money overseas, and he's developing new innovations in those markets. Nothing is really being benefited here, yet he's a Pretoria boys high school pupil. And he's making money for Barack Obama and all the other people there and everything else. Mark Shuttleworth struggled to get his money out of the country and everything else. Why is there so much regulation with regards to the policies that surround foreign exchange? So what is needed to unlock the value of innovation? This is where I become excited, because the new thinking in the ISD program supports a whole new era in which we begin as South Africa to focus on strengthening the critical thinking skills, competencies. Because what people don't realize is it's not really so much about the innovation. It's about the thinking, the creativeness, the ability for someone to work with other people, collaboration. That's actually someone having an entrepreneurial spirit. That is actually what drives innovation. But there has to be a mindset shift that actually brings that about, because if that doesn't happen, then we'll keep on having the same thing and more of the same old. And what happens is we're not seeing this translation of all these innovations coming through. So the new direction is this, that we want to focus on stimulating a culture of innovation with the goal of building and nurturing entrepreneurial mindsets, developing the appropriate thinking skills, and building adequate capacity to support them within the national system of innovation. And how that is going to work is through partnerships. Everybody has to work together. As Msholozi Jacob Zuma, our president, always says, there's no cohesion in the system. And he says it every single time. Everybody's doing their own thing. I read an article this morning. There's a whole turf war that's happening with the Department of that lady, small businesses, because now DTI is saying, okay, you know, we do this, and she's like, oh, okay, but I'm meant to be doing this. Then Department of Economic Development as well is saying, oh, no, you guys can't do that because we're doing this and everything else. And I tell you, once we begin to work together and come up with very good policies and interventions, we are going to be able to see this translation of South Africa knowledge resource. And I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it is there. I put it to you. It is there. There is ideas, there is potential, there is value. South Africa, there is so much happening here that we can begin to showcase and boast to the rest of the world our capabilities. And how we propose this to happen, and that's why we asked all of our industry partners to attend this session, is we want to come up with an innovation skills partners forum where we want to bring in the three key players together. We want to bring in industry, we want to bring in academia, and we want to bring in the government. And basically all we're trying to do is how do we align knowledge, skills, and capabilities for learning within firms and for those involved in education and training subsystems. Our main goal is to map the different actors in the key systems and subsystems of innovation, identifying the linkages and networks in this forum so that we can strengthen the flows of knowledge and resources for learning and innovation. Innovation only happens when we think outside the box. I've got a video to show you. These guys in Australia, this is the Imagine stage. I'm hoping the video is ready. Just take a deep breath because you literally are going to be blown away. That is the future we're going to. Is the video ready? This is when you just press play. Like oh my gosh. Guys, are you ready? Sure. So I think we need a skills intervention program. But ladies and gentlemen, I'll hand you over to our facilitator. Oh, here we go.
Oh, there it happens. Okay, once more, but with feeling, please. We having any luck over there? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to delay the process. I'm going to hand over to the next panel member to just introduce himself briefly and also to maybe make his statement with regards to the innovation awareness. Please.
All right. Thank you, thank you. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of good information which has been shared. He speaks about the SMME colloquium that I was at, which is across, I think it's about 3 minutes from here. And I was sitting in there and I was thinking to myself, wow, it is so good to hear people that wants to be in industry and SMMEs and all of that. And the whole goal about the NDP and where the NDP says we should be, you know, there's most, on a yearly basis, a GDP focus that says this is where we need to get to. The challenge with that is you can't get there without the right skills. Now the question is, if we have to speak about engaging the future, that means we should be seriously looking at how our engaging the future is actually using innovation as one of those. But in education specifically, there are a lot of challenges, granted. One of the key issues is this: if you cannot be able to produce students that passes mathematics at a 50%, that at least allows a certain percentage of those to register for bachelor's degrees in science, medicine, you know, in those key elements of the economy, how are we going to grow the GDP at that rate? For instance, there are things that are hampering our development. One of those, if we want that particular growth, as stats has been showed, we need to then see that Eskom has to be able to supply enough electricity for that type of growth. But what that does need, it needs engineers. So let's not faff around what and how and all of this. The basic of this, you gotta start this at the very bottom. You have to look at education at the crèche. You have to look at primary schools, and then you can look at high schools. That particular pipeline becomes very important. One of the key things of ensuring that you can actually impact 10, 20, 30-year program is to make sure that you actually have got a 30-year program. So that means we do not want to measure next year if GDP is growing at 5%. What we want to measure, however, it is if we're actually making the right impact initially. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the haphazardness, but it seems our video is ready now. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you'll agree that that was quite phenomenal. Awesome, thank you very much. Let's go straight to our third panelist, and please introduce yourself and make your statement.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Derek Batt. I'm the Senior Manager for Business Development at SANEDI, which is the South African National Energy Development Institute. So what I want to share this morning, just a few thoughts. A lot of people, and we all know the problems. We always talk about the problems. We have committees to talk about the problems. We write documents that document the problems. How do we break out of that box, that routine, same old, so that we can start innovation properly? Now, I come out of an energy value chain, so we look at energy and renewable energy. A lot of innovators, a lot of good guys come to us with a project. They want to demonstrate it, they want to incubate it, and then they want to pass it on so that it grows into a commercial venture. The banks won't fund them because it's not yet proven technology. So there's the research that's done that works, then there's this chasm until it gets to commercialization before banks will take it. And I'm really excited with our partners of TIA, where we're looking to work together to build something across that divide. I don't want to call it a bridge, let's just say we're trying to build something. But you know one of the problems we also have? We don't give our young people the realistic expectation. Many people come into my office and I see maybe 10, 15 budding guys with a great thing. This is going to work, going to change the world. But it's one project to pension. He thinks he's going to get this project off the ground today. Tomorrow he's a millionaire. The next day he's a multi-millionaire. Then he could retire. And he's 21 years old. And you've got to say, guy, wake up. Your idea is good, but it's only an idea. It's in the cloud. How do you take it out of the cloud and make it tangible and real? What we're looking at in the value chain, and we talk about value chains in terms of technologies. But you know, one of the things that we've started at Sanedi, and again, I want to thank Tia, they give us, through a partnership, we get interns from them every year. And that is one of the greatest programs that's working for us. In fact, I want to say to you, 80% of the interns that we take on from Tia, we actually end up employing them and carrying on their career path. So it's not just a 1-year or a 2-year internship. They actually come in because they've learned, because they've grown, and they've found their niche in that value chain system. They stay on and then they do their part productively and resourcefully. But you know, when you have a value chain, not just about the technologies and how everything fits together, we need a human value chain. Because you take a young company that wants to start, he might be a good technology innovator, doesn't have good business skills, doesn't have good financial skills, doesn't have marketing skills. Then you've got a marketer on this side of the fence. He's got great marketing skills, but he's got nothing to market. And we need to start partnering with each other and putting everything together so you build teams. Let me call them joint ventures or cooperatives, whatever name you give it, doesn't matter. But you start putting people together in that value chain so they help each other to success. And we break this competitiveness. Let me just talk to academia for a moment. Every institution of academia wants to do research. That's what they're there for, teaching and research. If we look at what happened in South Africa in the solar, in the PV industry, all the universities, I'm going to take these as university. I've just made you chancellors. Okay. We want to give finance from government to the universities to do research. So we give 1 or 2 universities some grant money. But what happens, they all start at first base. So the money they've got is not a lot because the research budget of this country is so small. It should be 2% of GDP, and it's probably about 0.2. It should be more, because that creates innovation when there's financial means to grow innovation and create the enabling environment for innovation. But what happens, they all start here with their own silo mentality of doing the research, and when the money runs out, they all get to first base. So they're all still in a straight line. What we need to do, and Tira, I look to you to help us on this one as well, we need to put them in a line like a relay. The first runner, the second runner, the third runner, the fourth guy goes over the tape, but the whole team scored the goals. Because if we don't do that, we keep all in these silos of competition rather than value chains of success. So colleagues, this morning I want to say, let's find partners. I need the private sector to come and partner with us. We're not a financial institution. We're a technology development institution. I'm looking for financial partners to come and 1 day a week come and lecture those young entrepreneurs. Come mentor them on some of the financial issues. That's not in our core skill set. I need those partnerships so that when they come in on a program, it's not one-sided or one-footed. They get a rounding and a holistic grounding. So when they come out of it, they have experience and talent so they can get jobs and they can continue being entrepreneurs or they can be values to the market. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jen Abrams, and I'm from Water Africa. Only lady paddlist, yes. I'm project director for Water Africa South, North, and Asia. And what we heard here this morning, and I'm sure you heard quite a lot, is every bit true. And as a project manager and being out there in the field, I can tell you I agree with Derek, I agree with Boulain, I agree with our CEO. And I'm from the water sector. And this morning I want to stimulate your thinking around innovation in the water sector. I want to talk about the water sector this morning. I just briefly want to tell you that this year, 2014, we had 2 15-year-old girls, grade 11, from Limpopo, living in the rural of rurals with nothing around them, very little resources, won the Stockholm Award for Innovation. And I think there's a lot of good out there. However, as everybody else has already reiterated, there is no cohesiveness. We are all running in circles, we're all doing our own things, we're all having our own playing fields, and we all love what we're doing. And I agree with our SME, we need to start right at the bottom. 14-year-old, I think grade 11 is about 14, 15-year-old, if I'm correct, or 16, somewhere there. But 16-year-olds could have an innovation on rainwater harvesting and taking rainwater and make it potable water at the age of 16. So there is talent out there. And we need to grab them, we need to nurture them, we need to cultivate them, and we need to grow them. And in this room today, we are the only people that can start that process and take it to the end. Not just have a summit every year, not just come together, once a year and clap our hands for the new rising stars, but actually putting our money where our mouth is. So from me, I want to talk to the industries and say, join me in saying that we want to put our money where our mouth is. We want to cultivate those youngsters, we want to grow them, we want to nurture them, we want to make sure that they don't stay dreamers, but they become entrepreneurs, and not just entrepreneurs, but men and women within the playing field, standing as young people in South Africa and saying, we have done this. Thank you.
Morning, everybody. Just before I start, I just want to find out how many maths geniuses do we have here? Who is a maths genius? Can I see by raise of hands? Okay, we have one genius. Okay, so at least I've got good company. Do we have another one here? Oh yes. Okay, at least we're three. Okay, so I am a maths genius, and I founded a company called Maths Genius Leadership Institute. I am highly mathematical. So if you're afraid of maths, be afraid of me. Just on the bragging rights as well, I'm fortunate to have, did you see the glasses in the video? 2 weeks ago, I was in Atlanta, Georgia. I was presenting at the GSMA conference. It's the Association for all the Mobile Network Companies in the world. And I happened to wear these glasses, and it was phenomenal. There's something called the Internet of Things, where from your cell phone you can lock your door, from your cell phone you can see the tire pressure. AT&T is doing quite a lot of innovation. And their innovation is based on hackathons. They're doing a lot of hackathons where they get a group of people with different skills together in a room, and they present a problem to them, and they say, go, do it, right? But now you find that the problem now with hackathons is that the moment you hear about hacking, you're thinking about genius. You're thinking about someone with special skills that were God-given that are not accessible to other people, right? So hackathons actually accommodate people with varying degrees of IT or other soft skills, So it's to do with teamwork. Now, let me go back to the start now. At Maths Genius, what we do is we go around South Africa, and recently we've been going global, where we are making noise about mathematics. Mathematics has been wrongly packaged for a very long time. You find that about 80% of the world is not proficient in mathematics. So are we saying 80% of the world is dumb, or the subject is just being presented wrongly? Right? The purpose of mathematics is that it teaches us to think in a certain way, in a logical way, to be problem solvers, to be solution-oriented people. So in other words, a maths class should basically be simulation of problem-solving situations that you're going to meet in life. And if we don't have problem solvers from a young age, then what are we doing? Because as it is currently, our maths is just about rote learning 1 + 1 is equal to 2, but it's not enhancing the problem solving and innovation that we actually need. Because for us to have that GDP, to have that entrepreneurship innovation going on, we have to teach kids how to think like mathematicians. I did 6 months in Japan, just going around schools, checking out what is it that makes them so good in maths. I also did 3 months in Finland, checking out why is it that Finland is almost every time #1 in the world in terms of rankings. And I discovered that in Finland, they do not write any exams until they're 16 years old. They focus on problem solving. They give case studies to kids, real life problems to solve, right? So they use maths as a vehicle for problem solving, because problem solving and innovation are not events, but they are a way of life. And then you find in Japan, they've had 3-4 generations of highly skilled mathematicians. And also, if you look at the way Toyota makes its cars, you know, the Kaizen, I know some of you know the lean methods, right? That's problem solving. So the way that maths is packaged at the moment is not workable and does not help us to achieve what we want to achieve. But anyway, it does not excuse us for mediocrity. Now, in South Africa, one of the major problems that we have, I was fortunate, by the way. I did my schooling in Zimbabwe. I did my honors in mathematics in Zimbabwe, and then I came here and already finished projects. So at least I didn't suffer from the system, right? So you'll find that in South Africa, the spirit of entitlement that Yesh and Pile spoke about is one of the major problems that is bedeviling the society. You'll find that a child wants marks, but they haven't worked hard for it. You'll find that the teacher wants an increase in salary, but they haven't worked for it. You find somebody toying about service delivery, about something that they can solve on their own. So the maths problem in South Africa is not a maths problem, but it's a societal, cultural problem that needs to be rooted from primary school. We need to teach kids to be problem solvers, because the 2 skills that you need in life are problem solving and decision making. Now, the low-hanging fruit for South African society to become a knowledge society is for us to teach kids to be problem solvers. But now you find that as we are in this room, we are very good at saying, Jacob Zuma and his government, Jacob Zuma and his government. But when the World Economic Forum report comes out, it's saying South Africa, it's not saying Jacob Zuma and his government. So we are all liable, we are all responsible for the failure of our kids. I taught at Midrand High School for 3 years, and I can attest to you that parents came, dumped their kids at school, and went away. There was no participatory parenting. Parents did not add value to their kids' education. So that means that you're delegating the raising up of your child to a teacher who did not exactly want to be a teacher, but maybe wanted to be an engineer, but didn't make the cut. Maybe the teacher is not even competent enough, of which I've met enough incompetent maths teachers in South Africa. It's sad, actually. So, what can we do? Firstly, each and every one of you, whether mathematical or not mathematical, we can channel the thinking of our children by asking questions like, let's say the child is doing homework, yeah? You can ask 4 basic questions that you use for project management, exactly, right? Remember, like, have you understood the problem? That's analysis. A lot of kids fail maths because they don't take time to understand the problem. Have you devised a plan? The plan is the formula, right? Carry out the plan, evaluate, do it iteratively, right? So that thinking that you use in your project management is the same methodology that is used for innovation, but the basis is the mathematical thinking. I've written a book entitled The Mathematical Genius in You. It is a book that teaches how to think like a mathematician, how to, what is it that those who achieved in maths, how did they do it? You can get it for 150 Rand after this. I'm not selling now. I'm solving a problem, right? Right. So you can see me afterwards. So it's important that we work together, because without individual social responsibility, we are fighting a losing battle, and we are going to be fighting this battle for for many generations to come. And Tia, I know that you might be supporting programs where you're getting iPads to schools and all that. That is very good, because we have to have that quantum leap where we don't have textbook distribution problems and all that. But are we saying that we have upskilled our teachers to an extent whereby they can actually optimally teach with those iPads? Can those kids use those iPads? Are we not just taking textbooks in paper form and translating them into iPads? What are we doing exactly? When we say we're innovating by giving kids iPads, are we really innovating? Or are we just changing platforms? When I was at Georgia Tech University, I was blown away because they have virtual campuses. They have what is known as augmented reality, where you can touch, feel things. You can, it's amazing. You can play games. You'll be doing maths, but not even realizing you're doing maths. So we have to really, really, really be transformative in our approach to problem solving, which will feed the pipeline of innovation. So, from today, I am going to ask you, I'll ask you politely, please help your child with maths. Even if you don't know how to do maths, buy my book and see how you can help them become better. Right? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's interesting how the talks is coming together and the messages and the threads that you're picking up. Thank you. Over to you.
One of the most difficult things to do after speaking after such a charismatic person is there's a lot of energy on the stage. I need to cool down. But he's highlighted some very important points. That we as a country have problems. And when I look at a problem, I get excited. Problems are opportunities. Let me introduce myself. I'm Leon Chetty, aka there's a DR in front of my name. Don't worry about that too much. Why I'm saying this is I come from 3 environments. I come from industry. I worked for ESCOM for 7 years. I worked in academia for 4 years. I'm a published academic. I'm currently working for the municipality. Now, from the morning to now, we've identified a few things. One, we need a talent management system, okay? But I put it to you this way, that every person has a talent. Every person has a creativity within them, a creativity enough to solve our problems. The question is, or the challenge we face as a country, is at times we've got the inappropriate application of that talent. Therefore, in place of solving problems, what we end up doing is creating bigger problems. Now, we have to ask ourselves this question. We talk about innovation awareness. What is innovation? Why is innovation important? Why is innovation for us as a country? I think Yishen Pillay, when he presented his argument for the importance of youth in South Africa, he presented it from an economic perspective. I was very impressed with that discussion. In terms of saying, if we don't address our youth concerns, we will have an economic challenge in the country. I'm putting it to you as well. If we do not address our innovation challenges in this country, we will have an economic problem. We cannot forever be counting on gold and our mineral reserves to be supporting income coming into this country. We need to find other avenues, other products and services. And to do that, to come up with these solutions, we need to be innovative. So what is innovative? Innovative is basically this. Every day, you and I face problems at home. We face challenges at home. The question is, we are sometimes innovative at home in solving those problems. We are creative. Okay, so now the thing is not, are we creative? Do we have the talent? Yes, we have the talent. We may be applying it in the wrong place. Why are we applying it in the wrong place? Well, Some work I've been doing has shown that there are 15 different ways of having creative, 15 different techniques of being creative. In saying that, no one person can have all 15 techniques, can apply all 15 techniques. Within you, you have a certain capability. Okay, you may apply one or two. I've done an analysis of myself. I found at best I can do 3 techniques. Okay? Every problem has a unique solution. Okay? To get to that solution, you apply a unique creative technique. Now, there's many problems faced in this country. It may be that the people trying to address the problem are not suited to solve that problem. Let's just, and I want to look, I'm again going with the topic of this innovation awareness to stimulate economic growth. So if you could just bear with me for a while as I explain this going forward. Let's take an example. When I worked in ESCOM, we knew that the energy crisis was on the rise. I'm talking to you right now around 2004 when I started. We knew that the energy crisis was on the horizon, right? We knew that we were supplying good quality electricity at a very low cost, and that was to stimulate the economy very well. That helped boost the economy, we went forward. We know, however, there will come a time when we start to basically run out of electricity, which is currently where we're sitting at now. Now, to stimulate, to further this, we'll have to spend. We could have actually started, what are we spending? We're spending on technology that we are currently, majority of the time, importing to this country. In 2004, if we stood back and looked at the problem and says, you know what, we have a problem, we as ESCOM know how to manage the power system and manage it very well. Done. That's our job. What we cannot do is develop new technologies to help boost the energy supply in the country. So what then do we need? We then need to partner with other agencies, government. We need to put the problem out there and say, we've got a problem. What can you come up with solutions? We may not be able to have the solution at that time. Those are big problems. There are also small problems that exist in many spheres of life. Let's take a typical example. One of the things we have a challenge in restaurants with is space. A very, very popular restaurant will have problems with. If you have a young baby, and I do, I have a 7-week-old, when you go into a restaurant, it's quite a mission to have to push the pram into the restaurant, and when you're in the restaurant, find a place for the baby because you can't get an actual seat. There's a recent innovation, some of you have seen it recently in Spur, where they actually attach a chair onto a table, but there's a counterbalance, simple problem. Problem is, how do I use minimal space in the restaurant to seat my baby? Now, if every one of us had an opportunity to understand the problem, we may have come up with that solution. But the problem was never presented to us. And this is what I'm putting out to you. And how do we go forward in developing the Innovation Skills Forum? We need to put our problems on the table. Every sphere of government, industry, and academia, put the problems out there. Let the 21 million youth that we have in country, give them a chance to even consider the problem. Let us not keep that problem and hoard that problem. Let's put it out there. And if we apply our minds and if we genuinely believe that we are talented as a nation and we are creative as a nation, we should somehow come up with a solution. It may not be a perfect solution, but then we start networking together to come up with a better solution. And eventually we could end up with the next Facebook. How did Facebook come about? Poor chap, he was not sociable enough. He needed to find a girlfriend. He needed to interact with women in a non-personal basis. So what he said, you know, I can't go and meet girls, so let me just create a web page that allows women to put their pictures on there. So actually I get to see the women's pictures. From that exploded to become a multi-billion rand company. I had a problem, look for a solution. Okay? Guys, I'll leave you with that. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think that wraps it up for the panel introductions. I'm now going to open the floor for questions and contributions. Before I do that, I just wanted to perhaps highlight the 6 themes that I've extracted from the panel members today. My first observation is the lack and need of systems and a system in terms of managing innovation and innovation skills development per se. Next very important point relating to maths and maths development from Bhumi talks to the specific issue of, from Maths Genius, talks about the very specific issue pertaining to problem solving. And I want to really support that notion that maths is not an issue of mathematical skills. I personally believe that maths is attitudinal. In my career as an academic, I've quite often had the opportunity to experiment, much to the horror of my colleagues at the time and to the joy of the learner thereafterwards, whereby we would take a not so well-performing learner and literally simply work on the attitude and self-confidence, not even touch the academic component of whatever the subject is that the learner is failing in. And the result is that the learners all passed at distinction level. So it's definitely a situation that it's attitudinal as opposed to skills-based. Ladies and gentlemen, people believe that they can't do maths, therefore they can't do maths. You can find this in any religion that you subscribe to, but you can also find it in quantum physics and quantum mechanics. As you believe, so shall it be. Just read studies such as the Copenhagen effect, etc., to understand what the effect of the human consciousness is on the materialization of reality and situations. So that, I think, is a very important thing, and it tells us that we need to start looking at what is it that we are creating with regards to what do we tell children, what do we tell young people with regards to maths, and what is the actually, at the end of the day, as NLP would say it, what is the neuro-linguistic program that we put out there, because people buy into it. Maths is difficult because people believe it's difficult. It isn't difficult, it is problem solving. The next one that I want to highlight is the skill of unlocking what we have, looking at what we have. South Africans are notorious for being so aware of what we don't have that we completely forget what we do have. We stare ourselves blind into what it is that we don't have, and we do not remember the enormous amount of skills that we do possess in this country, and we leave it unlocked and undiscovered, and we do not give recognition to people on the lower levels. Therefore, they remain disengaged, unencouraged, and we are actually, by default, destroying people's aspirational skills. And then we stand back and we say, gee whiz, how did that happen? The next point that I want to highlight is the point pertaining to social change. Specifically, social change is needed then to bring about this type of new thinking that we are talking about. A very lovely term that came up was the issue of talent management. We need to have a talent management system, and I was hoping that organizations such as TIA could take the lead and run with something like that and create a type of a system whereby we could have a talent management pool or a talent management process. Another very lovely saying that came out of it was, put the problem out there. I think we need a type of a repository almost, perhaps some sort of skills porthole type of situation where people can publish what the problems are that they experience out there, and invite young people from all over the country to take these problems, tackle them, and analyze them. Ladies and gentlemen, the question still remains, how do we solve the problem, lack of innovation awareness in South Africa? May I invite some comments and questions from the floor, please? We'll have to choose people. Ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Arifa Parker. One of the things that I wanted to talk about, all of you spoke about a very important thing, it is innovation and youth. But one of the things that we forgot to do is, what are we as South Africans doing for our youth over here? I heard of NYDA, I hear about all the ways that we hold our hands, TIA also doing a lot of things. But one of the things that we tend to forget is that when we have young people and they have got this fascinating, innovative, creative ideas, add all the adjectives you want, and they come out with ideas and they want to put it on. It is we South Africans, the adults, who are not ready to take the first hand and hold their hand and take it forward. Let me tell you, we have a program that I run with my friend. It's called YEP. And we found that out, that when we have young entrepreneurs and when we hold their hand, mentor them, hold their hand to take them to the international step, that's what we do with the YEP program, the outcome is phenomenal. It is a small little thing that we do. It's not even the tip of the iceberg. But when I found that just holding a hand and giving them that encouragement, that there is a force behind you. And let me tell you, South African government has one of the best legislation in the rest of the world compared to it. But we are not implementing it. That's another story, with all due respect to the government. But how can we use this methodology of getting young people to the next step is our responsibility. And I'm talking to the general people over here, people from different industry, people who have got the ideas, who've got all the resources. Why can't we pull our ideas together? I mean, there's my partner and myself who are doing this YEP program for the whole of South Africa and the whole of Africa today. But when we ask government to give us their helping hand to make sure that we can carry on with it, oh yes, we've done a lot. I think we've done more than 700 million rand of investments through our program in this country. But when they look at the two ladies who are running the whole show, they look at us, they don't look at our program, they say, oh really? Hello, South Africa, wake up. It doesn't matter to us. We're still taking the thing and we are pushing this young South Africans. And believe me, we've got talent here where you will never believe there was. A good example is I arrived here from Cape Town yesterday. I had a meeting from 6 o'clock till 10 o'clock yesterday evening. I had three young people, and I've already got the plan for them to carry on with the next program. And I'm going to put Tia on a really important situation over there. Here are three young people, got the idea, got innovative idea, they want to put, but they don't know how to get together their business talents together. We have people who've got the business talents, who've got all the things, mentor them. 1 hour a month. What does it cost you? Pay forward. Look at yourself, look into it, ask yourself, what can I do to bring that talent forward? People, this is a challenge I'm throwing to you people. Take it up. We've got the talent. And help the innovation out there. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think that deserves a big hand. Big hand. Thank you for that. Any panelists want to reply to that comment? Mr. Genius. Give it to the genius.
Thank you. I am the genius.
You see, that's what I'm
And
talking about.
I'm not
eh?
apologetic
You believe
about it because you find that the biggest cancer that we have is the messaging. The media just says maths is bad in South Africa. Maths is bad in South Africa. But no one is coming up with solutions. Okay, just going to what Arifa said. I think that one of the major problems that we have is the uptake of local innovation, where I would rather buy a Gucci from Italy than buy a Puleng from South Africa. So it's a whole thinking shift where we have to support our local acts, whether it's music, whether it's any creation or innovation that we have. So I think that is where we can play a part in supporting our local innovations. And then I neglected to say that my connection with Tia is that I wrote a book entitled that's the other one, The Mathematical Genius here. This one is called Girl Child Rise Up in STEM, because the reality of the matter is, from a statistical point of view, is that if you empower the girl child in South Africa, then the economy is going to move forward. The numbers say so, and the behaviors say so, because you find that give 100 rand to a woman, give 100 rand to a man, you find that 90% of that 100 rand is going to be invested in community that is family or something sustainable if you give it to a woman. But if you give it to a man, it was found that it's about 65% will be returned. So we have to work together to break those cultural barriers and get the girls to do maths and science. Not that they should all be scientists, but at least gain the exploratory thinking and problem solving so that they can achieve in any field of choice. Thank you.
Pulling.
Thank you for that. I think that was a good point that you have raised. One of the things that we find is that, coming from Kwakwa, which is a rural environment, I come to Sentin so that I can understand how people think. Because in Kwakwa, you see, a child in June will know that there won't be water because it's too cold, because even if the piping is there, okay, the water will freeze. Now, you can't package that knowledge into standard 1, standard 2. You have to have an education system without walls. What is that? It is exactly that, mentoring. So there's no way of wanting to, ring-fence knowledge. You have to do it within an education system which is bigger, like, basic education, for instance, where we want to grow engineers. So over a period of time, you need that. However, there are a lot of innovation that actually happens outside of the schooling environment. One of the key things is this: if I solve a problem, that particular problem could be a problem for a medical solution elsewhere. So the key thing in this is awareness. Keep being aware, keep looking for same, keep looking for the areas where you are interested so that you can actually find others like you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that comment. Gentleman over there. Roving mic.
Sorry, I've got the mic. Hello? Hello, I've got the mic already.
One more. Taking your
So,
pardon.
I've got two specific questions. My name's Kathy Burke. First is the fellow maths genius. You mentioned about the lack of maths and the interest in maths at an early age. Is there anything being done at pre-primary and junior school level to actually bring in that problem solving and get the interest in maths? Because I do believe that's where it has to be rooted. And the second question was to Leon Chetty specifically. You mentioned 15 ways or techniques to be creative. Are those published anywhere, or how can we find out what they are, and is there a test to actually test oneself? Thank you.
Thank you. That's a really good question. You'll find that, yes, maths education should start way before they go to school and where they are confused by teachers. Since we said mathematics is not just about the numbers, the arithmetic that's taught in school, so we have to teach them to think in a logical manner. But at the same time, you have to keep a balance, because you don't want a zombie. You want someone who is well developed in the emotional side as well as the logical side. So it's a question of, okay, if a child says, I want the red sweet, right? Just ask them, why did you choose the red sweet instead of the blue one? Just to get them to think of the process of getting to that decision. So the whole idea of mathematics is saying, what is the journey that I took to get to the solution? And is the solution optimal? There is no wrong solution, but is it the best solution in the circumstance? So it's stuff that you can do without even having any math proficiency of any sort. And there are so many tools out there that you can use as well, like your Japanese abacus. There are Lego stuff nowadays, and a lot of apps that actually use maths, but not explicitly, more intrinsically, where you don't show them that you're doing maths, but you're using the thinking. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that.
The answer is yes. There is published research in the area, and I'm willing to give it to you. It's actually on my table. The PhD thesis is on my table right now. You're welcome to receive it. On 15 creative ways of thinking.
Thank you. Question over here.
I just want to also just raise something that I think is very important, and that is that we don't forget about our disabled youth. About 2 weeks ago, a young girl of 17 years old sat at home. Her parents said to me, can't you please just help, because she's got a hearing disablement. And within 2 weeks, with some networking and assistance of some people in the private sector, we have helped her to establish her own consultancy business. And she's working now for 3 days already at the company. They are using her inside the company to help her to get on her feet and get her going. We're looking now to help her to get a license and all those type of things. So what I want to say, even in the talents management, I believe there's a very big need for our people, who are young children who are, or young kids who are disabled, in a way to help them to get their own businesses going, their talent. What I've seen about this whole thing about, especially the hearing disabled, is that they are very good in sports and that type of things, and that we are now looking very urgently to start an academy for them, as to assist them to develop their talent. And I hope and I believe that within the next few years we will have one of them also coming here to perhaps receive also an award as a rising star.
Thank you very much.
You echo my sentiments, is that they are, let us talk about disabled youth. These kids have access to the internet via their cell phone or a PC at home. The HR group director or the HR manager for the group said that there are volumes and volumes of data available on the internet via Google. So the volume of information that's out there is readily available. If the problems are put out there, then the question is, how do we assimilate the information so as to solve the problem? And anybody can do that. It's just about you sitting at home. You're unable to go anywhere. Let's give the guys an opportunity to solve these problems. Let them come up with their own innovative solutions. Let them then email Tia and say, I'm this person, I'm disabled, I've looked at this problem, and I've come up with a solution. And Tia will then network them with other individuals and say, let's see how we can take the solution forward. And you never know, that may just be the next big thing. Okay?
Me?
I would just like to add to that. You see, in South Africa, you have a education system called CAPS. Okay? That particular system says, in a certain week, you have to teach in this subject certain things. The challenge that has been echoed all over is that the teachers do not have, some of them do not have the requisite skills to be able to teach that particular subject. So there's that one big issue. The other issue is if you consider people living with disabilities, okay, you then realize that they might not be mobile. The institutions of higher learning or even the basic education do not have the infrastructure to be able to support that. Okay. So from a bigger approach is that you have to actually look at a different way of delivering that particular knowledge. Okay. So at Skills Pro, we have that particular platform. And that platform, we currently are training, or we do homeschooling, where a person can be supported, through our support processes. The e-publications that we have are CAPS aligned. So that means if you ask me on a certain week, what we teach in mathematics, I can tell you exactly. But it is actually done in a way that it actually supports the teacher. Because if you do not support the teacher, you will not get to the child, or whatever that you're going to get out of the child will be mainly influenced by the teacher. So the bigger part of it is that we got to look at capacity building of teachers, and which is why we're saying we need to look at technology as an innovative way of delivering education. And through that way, you then can actually then deal with the problems of teachers being technophobic and. But at least you have identified the problem. The process is how do you then choose the best tools to be able to get to the solution. And we think that we have identified one of those.
Thank you very much. I think we have time for one more comment from the audience.
Thank you. Good day, everyone. My name is Charles. I'm a business relationship specialist. I want to make two comments in regard to the issue and the question on the table. One is that development and innovation do not actually start in school. They start at home. And school is a place to stimulate what starts at home. Therefore, this is a platform for us to start looking at ways to look into how best to come up with campaigns and strategies that will get home involved in innovation development. Because without home, children are not better trained. Secondly, having said this, all of us we need to start communicating to our young people that mistake is accepted. One of the problems that we experience doing work in communities is that our young people are scared of making mistakes. They don't want to fail. But failure is not a bad thing. Failure is a reason to try again. And these are some of the things we need to inculcate in the mind of the young people. Allow them to make mistakes. Comfort them when they make mistakes. Pass that message. If they are doing mathematics, if they are doing any other subject, whatever they get engaged in, give them space to make mistakes. And let's accept their mistakes so that we can correct them and get the right mind shift that makes innovation and development sustainable. The third one is we need also, with the help of TIA and most of the agencies here, to find ways to be incentivizing interest in different fields of life amongst the youth. And we need also, having heard from all the contributions from the panelists, to find ways to be encouraging collaboration. And in today's language, it's coming up as collabonomics. This is definitely working. The economic of collaboration need to be explored in order to be communicated adequately. And commonly is stimulating practice. This is what education is all about. This is what the school is all about, to stimulate the practice. And if we can also find ways to incentivize on it, it will be also very good. But the core of it all is we must support family value moral development at its core from the value. There are several ideas and several methodologies that can be supported. But from the root, family value, moral development will always be the key to innovation development. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I think a big round of applause to yourself will do, please. Our panelists, thank you very much. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I think that we are all agreed that the problem is well defined. I think we all agree on what the way forward is. The next step, perhaps, is to facilitate a specific plan as to how we take this to a practical solution. We're out of time, so I'm saying thank you very much for all of your participation. Thank you, Tia. Thank you, panelists. Hope you enjoy the rest of the day.